Okay, so let's take a look now at the keyboards on the two devices. So first of all, when the keyboard's attached on the iPad Pro, you can see now that the devices actually, in terms of their actual size profile, are pretty much identical. So first of all, if we take a look at the iPad one, the iPad keyboard's quite different from the Surface keyboard in that it kind of folds out like this and then becomes part of the stand. So we had some fun with some members of staff clipping this together. It took several attempts. As you can see, I've kind of mastered it now, but it does take a bit of getting used to. So if I just log in here on the iPad Pro device, we can see the keyboard sits fairly flat to the desk. Now that for me certainly I found quite uncomfortable. So when you were tapping on the keyboard, you're sort of pretty much pressing on the desk. There was no sort of spring or give in the keys. I also found the keys quite small, so I kept missing keys and clipping other keys when I was typing. So particularly when you're using something like Microsoft Word, and when you were writing in Word, obviously a bit difficult doing it on here. I find it quite sort of clacky, the keyboard, but also the flatness was a problem. The good thing about the keyboard is the fact that it is a spill resistant keyboard, so that it is completely sealed unit. So that means anything that does get knocked over or spilt on it, like a hot drink or something like that, won't actually get inside the keyboard and sort of damage the keyboard. In terms of cost between the two keyboards, they're pretty much identical or very, very similar pricing between the two. And it is obviously an active device as well, so when you close up the iPad Pro, which requires this kind of folding mechanism, it will actually shut the iPad down there, and you may have been able to hear that click shut. So now let's take a quick look at this Surface Pro keyboard. The Surface Pro keyboard, by contrast, you can see is actually lifted from the desk, so it doesn't actually sit completely flat on the desk. You can have it flat on the desk if you prefer, and you can type with it in that format, but it's much more comfortable to use in that format. We can now see obviously the addition of the touchpad on the device as well. The touchpad meaning that obviously you've now got mouse support, and I'll just log this one in. And obviously now if I'm typing, the keyboard actually is a lot more springy. One of the things that it doesn't have, which the iPad Pro did have, was that spill resistant keyboard. So obviously if you do spill something on this keyboard, unfortunately it will go down inside the keyboard, and the likelihood is you'll be replacing the keyboard. So that's kind of the pro that the iPad has over the Surface Pro. But I think overall, in terms of the keyboards, we did a lot of testing yesterday with staff members in the office, and unanimously the keypad and the keyboard attachment on the Surface Pro was the favoured keyboard device. So I think in terms of keyboards, then the Surface Pro is the better tool for the job.